All right, I'd like to call the Town of Cedar Lake Unsafe Building Department meeting for June 19th, 2024 to order at 5:32. Would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Beal?
Here.
Ms. Dessauer? Present. Mr. Teal?
Here.
Mr. Deutmeyer?
Here.
Mr. Austin is absent. Mr. Bungie?
Present.
Mr. Gatto?
Here.
Ms. Hyduk is present.
Thank you. All right, first thing on the agenda is the minutes from April 17th, 2024. Could I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Dessauer to approve and a second by Mr. Beal, the minutes from the last meeting. Roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. All right, first thing on the agenda tonight, active unsafe, item number 1, 7105 West 128th Avenue, Cagnina. Do we want to handle these separately or together?
I think generically how we've handled it in the past is he provides information on both, but any motions need to be separate.
Correct. Okay.
Good morning.
Name and address. Name and address for the record.
Gino Cagnino, 7109 West 128th Avenue.
All right. You got a little update for us?
Yeah, they were planned to be demolished, but that didn't go through because numbers didn't add up. Nothing was adding up right. So executive decision was to just for sale, but as is, both of them, and clear off the plate with those two. It's just it ain't working out.
So do you currently have them listed?
I have them listed.
You do have them listed?
Yes.
And just so you know, just for the record, I did share the email that you had, I believe, with Nicole Barnhart. I did share it with the rest of the commission.
Okay, very good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Any thoughts or discussion?
I do have one more thing to say.
Okay.
I just wanted the reports to be updated so that I can share them with whoever's interested. The new part, whoever's
Right. And what you mentioned that, Tony, I believe the agent was asking today, I think I talked to Christina earlier in the office, and she said that she was going to try to find that they only sent one report and not both.
7105 was on there prior to COVID, and whatever information is on it is sparse, because once COVID showed up, that thing just sort of disappeared off the agenda. I'm not sure if there were meetings during COVID or not, but it got picked back up later and just kind of carried on with what was there, which was not much.
So the 7109 is what was sent, sorry.
Yeah, because at the time 7105, you were going to sell and use the money to do 7109.
Right.
So 7105 was kind of thrown on with it because it was attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So no new report was done because 7109 was on there.
What was spaghetti?
Yeah. I know we've had discussion in the past with houses that go up, that get listed as far as tying information to a potential new owner for attendance in the meetings. Ryan, do we have anything in place at the moment that we can do without?
Other than what the law requires him to
Correct.
disclose? No, I don't believe there's been any orders issued on either of these properties.
Okay. Is that something that we would have to do to make sure it stays with the title on that so they're aware, or?
So for this one and for any other ones, if you're talking about getting something in the chain of title, demolition orders have to be in place and affirmed, and once they're reaffirmed, then they can be recorded.
Okay.
What's the time frame on that?
If you entered the initial order today, you could do the order affirming at next meeting, but I mean, we're sitting here today without the benefit of having that information, so you'd be talking about an initial order next meeting, and then the reaffirming order in August.
So it could already have been sold even prior to next meeting.
It's possible,
Possible.
right? Or it's possible that it's on the market for a while, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
So you're at 60+ days.
yeah, that's what the statute requires, 2
Okay.
meetings.
And I know that, I attend the building department meetings that we have on Thursday, and I know that, the permit was ready,
Right.
you know, for you to pick up. So I do know that did take place, you just never bothered to pick it up, you know, because of this.
Yeah, the meeting was set for 2 weeks later, and then, but I remember that guy said that it was June 1st, so I didn't know what to do with that. I was like, they weren't ready to demolish it anyways at that time. And I proceeded with, you know, what was gonna happen next, and I said, wait, this isn't working out. Oh, the money's not right, I got too much going on the plate here. How am I gonna sell something that I'm gonna be under? I don't wanna be under. So I had this, that's it.
So I'm thinking that it's still, you know, by Mr. Cagnina selling as is, still does not make it the issue of the unsafe going away. I understand of a 60-day time frame for any type of order on that, but
But an investor will come in and say, yeah, I'll lift them up, I'll put the funds in, or I'll just take them down myself and put up what the hell I want, you know?
well, with yours being on the first thing, we do have several after this that's almost a similar situation. We did have one close that recently sold, no demo order on it, and now I'm looking at another email that now this person is already reselling. So, you know, not to drag that one into yours, I'm just doing it for an informational purpose, so you can see where we're sitting as the board.
Yeah, please don't mix
that
that
it's
one up
some-
with mine, I got enough on my plate.
Yeah, but so, in my view, I'm thinking at this point, we almost need to do the demo order, regardless if it sells in 2 weeks, because if it doesn't, it's still on here,
That's illegal.
then, does that make sense?
It does, because we're gonna be in the same situation here.
And if an investor wants it that way, to restore it as it was, then...
Well, and there are also other people or investors that have purchased parcels that are still on the list, that have been on the list for quite some time, and still, we're in the same situation. It is still blighted, it is still unsafe in situations like that, so that does not make the situation go away. So this is more of a protection on the town,
Right.
according to the statute and stuff like that. And I would rather get the ball rolling on it with the 60 days instead of waiting, hoping, you know, you sell it quick, you sell it in 2 weeks, you sell it in 30 days, and the
This
next
is my
person...
case, though. This is my case. I don't want to be included on the tail end of their case, and because of what's happening...
If you
with
sell
them-
it, it wouldn't be on Mr. Cagnina, if I'm correct, but it does, the demo order stays with the property.
Yeah, I think, Rich, what you're talking about is, if I'm reading between the lines based on the discussion we had before, is now in June of 2024, we're at a bit of a crossroads.
Yeah.
Right, in the past, some leeway has been given to property owners, and this is not necessarily a Mr. Cagnina thing, this is just a generic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is fairly self-evident from what we've heard and what we're about to hear that people have probably abused that, not you, but that leeway has been abused. And if you want to protect yourselves moving forward, the policy probably should be that if these circumstances are drawing out, that you proceed with the issuance of the order. Whether or not you intend to immediately act upon it or not, the orders are good for 2 years. So the orders can be in place, the orders can then be recorded, and then the town's interests are protected from subsequent sales and resales and stuff like that. And that's not necessarily specific to your case, but from a policy standpoint, that would be advisable so we don't have repeat customers, so to speak. People coming on
That's
and
what
having
I'm-
the same...
There are multiple, as I'm counting through here.
So you see my
yes.
point, so
No,
I'm
100%.
kind of trying to set precedents moving forward for this meeting, since we have 15 items on there, and several are you know, related almost to the same situation.
And I'm not here to buy time with that. I'm really trying to sell it because
Right.
I've taken care of my father, he's...
Yeah. And this doesn't mean just because the order's in there that we're gonna tear it down. It's protection for us. You sell it in 2 weeks, you know, a month and a half. It states that the new owner is gonna have to be in here with a plan moving forward with the condition the building is in.
And the only way there would be any liability to you is if the order's entered, nothing happens, the property is subsequently demolished by the town, and then a lien's recorded. Like, we're
Why
talking...
would it be demolished if I'm selling it as is?
Well, that's the point, is if you didn't sell it for 16 months, and the town says, we have this order, we gotta do something with it, we're gonna go in and knock it down.
Oh, I understand that,
But other than that, like, that's the only way that there'd be any risk
Right.
to you individually, in that you could be responsible for those costs.
But if it's locked down, it's maintained, nothing's getting in or out, I don't, well, and it's gotta be sold because I can't have this hanging on my financial, it's a burden. So that being said, I just wanna sell it as soon as possible.
And if you sold it tomorrow, then this is all for naught, right? We would never be able to get the orders prepared and everything put into place. You just let the town know you sold it, the process stops, the new owner is then hailed in.
All right.
But if it toils on and we get to the August meeting presumably and it's still for sale,
Yeah.
then all they would do is enter the order, record the order, so it's a public record. So you close at the title company, the title company's gonna pick it up in a title search and at least inform the new owner that this is a public record, this is what's going on, and they are subject to the jurisdiction of the Unsafe Building Commission. That's the whole purpose for it, but the statute requires it to be an order, not like some sort of notice, hey, you know, this is in the unsafe building jurisdiction.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. But, you pulled title on it?
Have I recently?
Not you.
I don't know. We may have done title work on this
Because
a year or two ago.
that's gonna be a lien against the property if you pull title
No,
on it.
not a lien. If we ran title on your property, that's not a lien.
Oh,
It's
ran
just-
it, okay.
Yeah, we're not.
Nothing's been
The
pulled.
only way there'd be a lien is if the town demolished your home, you didn't pay the demolition
Correct.
fees, and then the town recorded the lien.
Right.
But that's like 4 steps.
But I don't want another obstacle to the person that wants to buy it, and then I, you know, how'd that happen? The town did it. I don't want any more of those, the town did it things.
No.
That's all. I just want to be clean, clear cut. If they want it, we're gonna sell it.
Mhm.
Boom. No buying time. This has been a pain in the
You've been here a few times.
Any more discussion? What's your thoughts?
No. Nothing.
We gotta get it going somewhere.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So I'd be looking for the motion to proceed with the issuance, or to instruct Ryan.
yeah, the instruction would be to run the title on this property and of course the next. And once we get that back, we can come to the next meeting prepared with a form demolition order. So it'd be the July meeting. If the board approves that, then we have a form affirmation order for the August meeting.
So today is just instruction to run title.
Yeah, because we don't have, or if we do, it's stale and outdated by now.
Okay, I'm ready.
I am,
Okay, I'll make a motion to direct our legal team to run title on 7105 West 120th Avenue before our next meeting.
Now, running title entitles what to me? Entails?
Nothing. We
Just
we'll
run.
just go through Fidelity National Title or title policy and just to see who has an ownership interest, because the statute requires us to notify, obviously, you as the owner, but anyone that has a substantial interest in the property. So if there's any liens on it, if there's any judgments on it, if there's any mortgages on it, we gotta notify all those parties.
All right, can I have that in writing after it's done?
Of what, right?
A proof of all that's been done.
I don't follow.
Something to protect me in case something happens in the future with the buyer. Any kind of proof of notification or written documents of what needs to be done, you know, for the,
basically, I'm guessing what you're asking is, when he runs title, what Ryan comes up with, if there is any type of the stuff that he just mentioned? You want to know what that report comes back as?
Yes.
Well, that would all be included, we need to do that so we can include all those parties in the demolition order. So the demolition order would list every single party that has an interest in your property. It might just be you.
Okay.
But all those parties are going to be notified in the order of demolition because we have to under the statute. Now, generally, we also include the auditor and the treasurer just because they deal with taxes. So if you see anyone besides yourself, the auditor and the treasurer, then it's because they have some sort of interest. Mortgage, lien, judgment, anything like that.
All right. Okay. For this clear title and switch.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Dessauer, second by Mr. Beal to run title 7105, and instruct legal team to run title. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. All right, now, assuming we'll need to do the same thing for 7109.
Unless he has anything else to offer for 7109.
Same.
No, the same thing.
Same thing. Okay,
Both on
thank
the same
you.
level.
All right, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to instruct our legal team to run title for 7109 West 128th Avenue.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. I need it. All right. Oh, and one more thing. We're on YouTube, right? We're on YouTube? Wake up, America. Go Trump. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to item number 3, 13713 Parish Avenue, Diamond Peak Homes LLC.
Hello,
Hello.
Michael Herbers with Diamond Peak Homes, 1313 White Hawk Drive in Crown Point. Here again, talking about the barn on Parish. I was in front of you guys back in April. Of course, it was discussed that I'd apply for a demo permit, try and reutilize the material as best as possible to kind of restore, again, that building or longevity of those products in the building. I met with the town manager shortly after that meeting because there was discussion of things that may have been approved for that building over the years, or that property over the years. However, I don't think anything was brought up or drummed up, for lack of better terms. So I did apply for a demo permit. I believe it was in May. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head. Did not receive the permit, did some follow-up, still not received it. I did receive a phone call from the town inspector that, hey, what's the plan here? Can we figure out a way to get it off of the unsafe building list, you know, not tear it down? Of course, we are on board for that. However, we do know it is a process to find a tenant or use for that building. So, again, I know I was supposed to have that building down by today's date. However, I was never issued the demo permit. We're trying to, I guess, figure out a way to keep that structure as is, find a tenant. I am working with our marketing team to have signage put on that property, you know, for sale, build-a-suit type deal. Of course, we were in that process, but then when we had the deadline to tear it down, there was a tough cause to list it for sale and try and find a tenant in a short period of time. So we kind of pumped the brakes there, but now we are, you know, back full force on trying to, I guess, keep it alive. So.
Yeah, and I understand last meeting you were not at, and there was a little bit of a communication breakdown, Ashley being gone and stuff like that. There were clear instructions that we did not want it torn down.
Yep.
You know, just so we know.
Right.
And then when Tim Kubiak called me and said, hey, you put it in here with the demo permit, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Right.
You know.
Yeah, so I guess, I guess to take that back, Ashley did reach out saying that I was requested to be at that last month's meeting. However, I had a conflicting meeting that same night, which is why I set a meeting with the town manager trying to work through it. So if that's the case, obviously we'll make sure the building does stay secure. I know Tim Kubiak walked it, said he didn't see any issues with it currently. Again, like I said, I'm working with our marketing team to get some signage up there for, you know, again, build a suit, you know, lease, what have you, and we'll just keep working through that then. So if you guys know of anyone, or I mean, shoot, if the town's interested in it, you know, maybe there's an opportunity there. So.
Is it secure now?
Yes.
I had some pictures sent to me. When's the last time you were there?
Yesterday morning.
Okay.
And I-
So some of those pictures that you've seen also, that were sent to me, Tim did go out and check, since it was brought to our attention. I'll call it the door for the hayloft.
Mhm.
Second story, looks like it's hanging down. It's on big half-inch hinges. Tim went and inspected them. So it's kind of like the style of the door. It's not coming off of the building.
Great.
So just so you know, Tim did go out with those pictures in mind.
Okay.
Granted, yes, some kids still go and break out windows. He said, the last I spoke with him 2 days ago, I believe, he did say that the metal bars are still in the windows, so it's not like anybody can climb in. However, kids do throw rocks at the windows. There was some suggestion about possible security fence around there. But then we may run into an issue, do they put up a chain link fence for security like a construction site thing, or not? You know, that's kind of a discussion thing that we need to have, you know, so even though we know the doors are locked on it, what extent of security, you know, of the premises are we looking for? Signage, fencing, you know, Tim said that there's really no way, to get in there without actually breaking into it. So I don't know to what extent we're wanting secure and on changing that verbiage, you know, that.
Yeah. There's also been.
Chuck Becker, at the town council level, did say he wanted the fence around it. He's one of our town council members.
There was also questions about what the initial intention was with that property when Schilling owned it. I know it changed ownership, but we've had a couple of different citizens with concerns about there being some sort of a commitment made to certain people about what that property was supposed to be.
And I've had conversations with Schilling, again, I spoke to the town manager. No one knows of what commitments there were. I mean, again, it could be all hearsay.
Yeah.
I could sit here and say, you know, be great for this, great for that, and again, I can't answer that.
I know someone was supposed to be looking at some minutes. Did that ever happen, do we know?
Not that I'm aware of. That would have to go back, all the way back to, Public Planning Commission meetings from when the PUD, was probably, planned and platted, but, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to really delve into that.
Yeah.
We've been pretty short-staffed, well, with the Ashley leaving situation, so, a lot of people have been, doing cross-departmental things, and it's been kind of hard to pull people away for little elective kind of inquiries.
Well, that would be a deep dive too, because I mean, I was at those meetings as well, but that would be a real deep dive because we could have brought that barn up on any of Schilling's other projects as a casual conversation, so.
And that's the thing as well. I mean, I remember sitting in the audience several meetings where it was discussed, and a lot of it was more proposed use, not actual, in the form of a motion, from what I even remember. It could be this, it could be that. And so that kind of discussion doesn't mean that is what it's gonna be.
Agreed.
So.
That's how I remembered it as well, but we did have people with concerns about that. So what do we do now?
Tony, I know Tim went over there. Have you been over there again?
Yeah, we were there at the same time.
You were there at the same time, okay.
The door that was open a couple times is still closed as of
The main
So,
ground
yeah.
floor door?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not readily accessible. Anything is accessible if someone wants to break in, as was mentioned, but currently it's not readily accessible.
My
You can't just
concern with
open
putting
the
a,
door and walk in.
and I'll refer back to you, you're our building department, and I trust your opinion, but my concern with putting a fence up is it's already kind of an eyesore, so to put another fence up around it, which someone could just jump a fence, is like adding a whole nother eyesore.
You beat me to it.
Right.
So, Tony, what are your, do you think a fence?
No, I think I don't think it's gonna make it look better. I don't think it's gonna be more safe.
I mean, anyone can jump a fence. I can even jump a fence.
Right.
I mean, if I were.
Again, it wouldn't be readily accessible, it'd still be accessible.
Right. Okay. I'm not on board for a fence. I think it's it already looks as it looks, and to add a fence around it was just gonna make it look worse.
And we definitely don't want it tore down if it can be utilized just because of the historical.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think you saw the concerns at the meeting about that. You don't even wanna take it down yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to keep it. Again, it's just a matter of finding that perfect use for it. And call it a diamond in the rough. I mean, it's a good location. Again, it is zoned a commercial lot, so it could have a couple different uses, so.
So are we okay for now, as long as it's
So
safe?
that is the main question. It is secure. Yes, it could be an eyesore to someone. I like old barns, you know, it's got a little historic, you know, to it. However, you know, it is on our list. Since it is on our list, do we have a motion, if it is safe, according to the building department?
I call it secure.
Secure, do we move it to, update item to keep it on there, and not to have it removed, or does it stay active?
I mean, I think if your desire is that the building ultimately be used for some purpose and not demolished due to its historical significance, you probably want to keep your fingers on the pulse of that, so moving it to an update item would be appropriate, just in case something happened where it needs to be addressed immediately, you can handle it.
I think this one's a little bit different, because, first of all, you want it being used, because time is money for you. Number two, even if it does transfer hands, we still don't want to demo it. So it's different than the other ones, whereas no matter who owns this property, we don't want it taken down.
Yeah.
So I personally would be fine as long as it's secure and someone's keeping an eye on that. I mean, I drive by it 2 times a day, I'm pretty sure we all do.
And with respect to Mr. Herbert's time as well, that he doesn't need to keep showing up at the meetings every month.
Yeah.
Because if it stays active, we need to continue to reach out to see any updates and to be rhetorical at that point.
And if you do have an update, you could reach out to,
Absolutely.
who would he reach out to now, the town?
Well, I would say it'd be the building department, right, Tony?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
The only other option is a lengthy deferral. I mean, then you wouldn't see it for a few months, but it's still there.
I
But-
mean, you've been available, and
Yeah.
I feel like we could call you anytime and ask you for an update. You haven't skipped meetings, or, I don't think a deferral is necessary personally.
Personally, I think, on update item, that way it's still on the agenda, it's not out of sight, out of mind. You know, I get confused reading agendas myself, when I first started seeing a 60-day deferral is not on it next month, I'm like, where'd it go? Well, it's because it will not until the month following.
Yeah. I'm good with an update item.
Okay?
So that I don't have to come every month for an update? I mean, again, if you guys
Correct.
have questions, I'm accessible. If I have updates, I can reach
Yeah.
out as well, so.
Yep.
So you're still considered on our list?
Yep.
But there's no need for you to come here and waste your time or
Okay.
anyone else's at this point,
Okay.
as long as it's secure.
Perfect.
All right, so I'd be looking for a motion to move this to, an update item, since, building department is saying this is secure.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to move this update item. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4, 7500 West 129th Lane, Barkowitz. No response from him?
My understanding is nothing's been done to the property. It's now, it might potentially look worse than it did when he was here before.
I was made aware that there was some correspondence with another councilman in reference to a tall grass ordinance violation that Mr. Barkowitz received. That screenshot text message of the, I guess, citation was sent to me. The council person did try to reach out to the property owner, turned into a little bit of a phone tag thing, and nothing has transpired since then. That's about the extent of it that I have. I tried getting onto a conference call with it was with Greg Parker and Mr. Barkowitz, because that's who the order was sent to, and it was, no
We were supposed to
response.
reach back out.
Oh, there, I didn't see you there, Greg, sorry.
We were supposed to reach back out, Rich, and I haven't had time.
Okay, so we have not, because I know we did try in the parking lot that one day, and nothing else happened.
We need to revisit it, in my view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't think it's our job to chase after property owners. What are our options at this point?
Well, nothing's been done on this one, so it's at the very beginning of the process. You'd have to order title, and same situation as Mr. Pagmina.
I mean, again, now we're gonna have the same concern.
I mean, it's been such a time since we spoke to him, I am not completely refreshed on the whole, what his intentions were.
His intentions were to fix it and sell it.
And that is not, that's on the parcel to the smaller parcel to the west, actually, of where his main house was.
No, completely different property.
There's a little
It's around the-
pre-platted road on a corner.
Around the corner.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
And, yes, so this was, the intention was to do a rehab and then sell it.
Rich, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
We asked Tony to reach out to him and offer him the opportunity to pull a permit. And why waste your time with it? He wants to fix it, let him permit and fix it.
Thought the meeting, maybe it was the last meeting that he was here, that was his intention. He was gonna put together a scope of work, come see us and get a permit pulled, but he was so soured by everything that happened and splitting the other two lots that he just...
Well, Tony, for me, the goal is to get the thing fixed, not for us.
Oh, I agree. I'm just trying to remember how it went down.
In my opinion, we need to reach out to him, try to unsour him, and I'm not trying to insert myself into this, try to unsour him and get the thing fixed. Give him a
Right.
permit, let him fix it.
All right.
Again, though, this is an investor with multiple on this list at this point that have owned a property, given us the story about what they're gonna do to it. We waited 30 days to see him again. That story changes, now we wasted another 30 days. How is this different? If we're gonna have a precedent, then we need to have a precedent, and that's what it is.
I'm not trying to set a precedent, but I thought somebody said there's 59 houses on the unsafe building list right now.
No, there's, so actually on active, Greg, the list that we have right now today, just on today's list is 15. But there's even stuff that have not even seen the list yet.
Well, again, Rich, you and I have talked about this, the permit thing. Talked to Tim today, and I don't want to spend thousands of dollars from a financial standpoint continuing to beat dead horses on these properties if they haven't given an opportunity to pull a permit and do what they need to do. If this process is impeding them from doing that, we're not gonna reach the goal that we're looking for.
Right, and I think I stated that in the council meeting last night with the first reading on that updated ordinance and stuff, on the goal and the plan moving forward. If it is something that can be fixed with issuing a permit and getting a scope of work, but in the same sense, communication, if the owner, you know, is not even communicating with us, it's a little difficult to try to get things accomplished.
Well, he's made an attempt, we made an attempt, we need to make another attempt and see. Because, Rich, the process costs money, and I think the end goal is we want the thing fixed. To just beat it around this unsafe building board when we could eliminate some of that. It's your time, it's money. I mean, I'm just trying to streamline some things and take some stuff off your plate that could be taken off your plate. I just want to use a common sense approach to some of this stuff. And we wouldn't have so many if the process was working thus far.
Well, and that's why the process is getting ready to be changed.
Yeah.
To streamline things, but right now we have to deal with what we have.
Let's reach out to the guy again.
I can agree with that, but to me, if we're gonna talk common sense, Mr. Barkowitz needs to have some common sense and show up to the meeting.
I'm not gonna argue that with you, and we need to have a discussion with him. I think we can turn him. And I'm willing to put forth that effort to spend the time on it, rather than spend the money on it.
Well, what if nothing happens? What are we stuck with then?
What? Nothing's happening now.
Well, we had a first reading on on an amendment that could give us some leeway that we can make some decisions. Now, we have,
So I'm gonna make a suggestion with, the discussion that Craig has just had, knowing the situation with Mr. Berkowitz, not that I agree with the fact that he cannot show up to a meeting, because that does bother me. But if would you be interested in a deferral for 30 days, that he has got to be here at the next meeting, and give Greg and I the opportunity to reach out and speak with him? As far as what the process is planned moving forward, as far as issuing permits, we witnessed, basically a little bit of it with the garage on 142nd. We voted for them to, or we made the motion to issue notice that this would end up, their garage would be on the unsafe list, that they'd have to start attending meetings. They ended up getting the contractor tearing it down, and so by the time we had the next meeting, the garage was already tore down, so it never seen the lift, you know.
Just to be clear, though, we did have a plan, and there was a demo permit that was supposed to be pulled, and there was also an understanding the property was supposed to be kept up. None of those things happened
On this one,
on this one.
yes, I would agree.
I trust you and Greg if that's the decision you want to go with, but I don't, that's where I'm at. You want to talk about a waste of time, that's a waste of time. And now we're talking about it again.
I agree with Heather, I mean, that's a good point, I mean, orders been done and nothing's been happening anyway. And talking to them for another month,
Just to be
Well,
clear, there's been no order done.
Let me ask this question, and I want to ask Tony the question. If he came in here tomorrow to get a permit and he had a scope of work, could he get one?
No, because we gave him until, yeah, I think it was
Well, I guess
60
not.
days to come in and pull the permit, which would have been before today. Sorry, Tony.
That's good, you're good, I just was speaking, I mean, in general terms, there'd no reason not to unless for some reason there was, I don't remember what the order was, or the, motion was that was put together. If it gave him 30 days to do it, then I can't act outside of that.
Respectfully, Heather, I know what you're trying to do, but if he can't come in here tomorrow with a scope of work and get a permit, and we gotta bring him in here for another meeting, and we can't just get it off the list by him providing a scope of work and pulling a permit, that's not a solution either.
So can there be a motion made then that, that there's instruction given to Mr. Barkowitz to come in, meet with building department to get the scope of work done, like we've instructed others to do in the past? That he comes in, we get an update from Tony, whether he came in to get that, if it falls within the thing, he would still need to come to the next meeting, just for, our information, I guess, for our knowledge, even though I know we could probably talk to Tony, I don't,
Yeah, if he gets a permit, I mean,
then we
as
wouldn't
far
need
as I'm
to see it.
concerned, that's,
So how would that even be in a motion then?
So, maybe if you're talking about streamlining the approach for Mr. Barkowitz or otherwise, if the motions are that if they apply for a permit, the building department grants it, but the expiration of that permit be the day of the next meeting. So that cuts down on the lag time between the two meetings. They can get going, but they have to come in and their permit's expired, right? So they then need to come in and to present whatever they're going to you guys, see if there's any additional changes, modifications, you know, time limitations.
That's what we did 60 days ago.
On this one, possibly, I don't recall this.
No, yeah, we did. I don't want to waste any more time on this, so if you guys feel that 30 days is going to make a difference, I don't know how to make that motion.
Well, I would think that the motion that Greg is, thinking with Mr. Barkowitz moving forward to streamline things, and what Ryan just mentioned, is we issue, or we give instruction to the building department to meet with Mr. Barkowitz, get the scope of work on what's going to be done. If it falls within Tony's review, he feels that it's safe, and this is a proper way about going to fixing the concerns, that we issued a permit until the date of the next meeting, where he can get started on things. We can get an update, he would still have to appear at the next meeting. I guess that's a long version of the,
It is, and then sort of the follow-up to that is, you guys then still have the oversight on length of time, because as Heather knows, there's been others in the past that when time limitations weren't imposed, those permits would be there for a year, and nobody wants to be sitting here June 19th of 2025 talking about Mr. Barkowitz again. I want the issue resolved, taken care of, and done quickly.
But the issue is, Mr. Barkowitz was given 60 days.
I'm not just
Already.
saying that, I'm
No,
just
I'm
talking
just saying
in
already.
general.
And he just blows us off, like a lot of things. And that's, how many, 60 days and 30 days can you keep giving them? I mean, Greg said, well, what if he comes in tomorrow? Well, why didn't he come in yesterday? He's gonna come in, you know? He knows what was issued and what was...
any more thoughts?
No,
Heather?
no.
Would either of you like to make any type of motion?
I'll make a motion to ask the building department to reach out and ask for a meeting, right? Is that what we're asking for at this point?
I guess it would be a site inspection is typically the route we go. A site inspection with scope of work, as long as it falls within, Tony's approval of that work being done and bring it up to satisfactory, condition to where it could be off of unsafe building. 'Cause just because he comes in to get a permit to fix something doesn't mean it's gonna be within the requirements that we would need to see.
I'm not necessarily concerned about Tony going there. I think he knows what he's doing with
Okay.
the property. I mean, then again, we're wasting more time.
So just showing,
Well, you and Greg want to meet with him, right?
yeah.
So,
But we still need to instruct the building department to issue a permit if everything is satisfactory with building department's requirements.
yeah, so if he comes in the next 30 days, before the next meeting, we will issue him a permit with the understanding that he'll be at the next meeting.
Do we have this date on the next?
July 17th.
Thank you, Bob.
Heather, do you want an expiration on that permit if applied for in the meantime?
Well, I think
Yes.
30 days again.
I would say by, it would expire on July 17th.
Yeah, if he doesn't, before the next meeting, so if he doesn't come to the next meeting, now we're 90 days in with nothing. So
Right.
I think that's probably enough.
Okay.
Was that made a motion?
Is that enough of a motion?
It's a very lengthy motion.
Sure is.
Well, I'll second that.
All right, we
I'll
have-
add to it, but...
We have a motion and a second, for Mr. Barkowitz, to, come in with the scope of work, have Tony approve it, if it's satisfactory. Mr. Parker and I will actually reach out to Mr. Barkowitz itself as far as being a point of contact with this case. And if the permit is satisfactory, it will expire on July 17th. That way, Mr. Barkowitz will need to attend the next meeting. We have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Gusauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
So, to be clear, you guys are gonna attempt to reach out to him and
Yeah, but if he shows up before we do and he wants to get a permit and provides you a scope of work, give him a permit.
we'll set up the inspection, go out and check it out with him, so like to do that so we're both on the same page, and then,
Rich and I may do that too, we may meet him at the property.
okay, if he does, say he shows up tomorrow morning, you still want the July 17th? Okay.
All right, moving on, item number 5, 7303 West 128th Place, Bouch. I'm looking at something different on the packet. I'm coming up with Weiss. The next one, I skipped.
No, you skipped.
Motion
It's on
second, item number 4.
There you go.
Okay, it's item 4, even though I'm looking at item 5 on my thing. I'm
Big Cagney
reading
had
the-
2 instead of...
Yeah. My apologies, okay. 7303 West 120 Pouch. Do we have anybody here for that?
Yeah. The foundation has been done, finished, we inspected it, and he says it's okay. And I'm proceeding with, filling the foundation back in with gravel, sand, and waterproofing. And then proceeding on to projects as we go.
Okay. Tony, do you have any other?
I believe it was yesterday, I was there to do the inspection on the foundation, bracing, tuck pointing and whatnot. I told him it's fine, gave him a green tag for the bracing. He's still gonna have to prepare it for backfill, so he's still gonna have to do his parging and his damp proofing. We'll come inspect that, then he can backfill, and he's got an idea of what he wants to do to finish the rest out as far as the permanent scope of work, so.
And then what would your recommendation be then moving forward, knowing that we're this far along in the process? Do you think there's something that would be an update item or can be removed altogether?
Well, looking at
Or-
the report, there's quite a few other things on here, so.
Yeah, siding, I'm gonna replace siding eventually, and, just general, rebuild the garage and everything eventually.
So has what he's done enough to remove him from unsafe, or does he need to stay on because of the siding, window doors, soffit
You want him
fascia
to check back
trim?
in 90 days, maybe, see how progress is going. I mean, I want to believe that he's going to continue and we're going to get permit pulls and everything's going to move forward. But in the instance that he doesn't, if something happens, then he'll be checking back with you guys in,
Okay.
in 90 days.
So deferral instead of moving it to, yeah. Is that your understanding?
Yeah. Or do we move it to update, that way it stays on the list? Then he doesn't have to come, it's just an update item.
Correct.
Yeah, so we would say deferral.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you were thinking 90 days? Or?
I just threw a number out there.
You just threw a number out there.
Maybe Mr. Cox could give us a
I'm
better.
doing it by myself, so it's,
Jeff, what's your thought, 60, 90 days? I mean,
90 days, I would say.
I'm working part-time.
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm impressed with what you've already done.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for,
I've been here.
I said, I'm impressed with what you've done already. Thank you for that. I'm fine with 90 days.
okay. Do you understand that we're, like to see you back in 90 days and then continue with the progress you're making? We definitely appreciate that.
I wanna get it done too.
Yeah. All right, good. Let's make a motion.
I'll make that a motion. 90-day deferral.
Can I get a second?
Yes, I'm sorry, a second.
Right, sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right, I have a motion and a second to give Mr. Fouch a 90-day deferral. And can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
See you in 90
again.
days. I don't know what that meeting date is. I don't know if we should date it, or will we send him?
3 months from this time and
Well,
same meeting.
The third Wednesday in September.
Yeah, we'll still send him notification, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
September 18th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 6, 13947 Holbert Street, Weiss. Mr. Detmeyer?
I have an update on that one.
Thank you.
And as inexplicable as some of the ones on this one are, this one ranks up there.
Oh.
Following up from our last meeting, I contacted Attorney Dargo. Now, just the quick bit of refresher on this one. What they always proclaimed was it was owned by Weiss. Mr. Weiss passed away. Some neighbors apparently had tried to take the property, deed it to themselves. They went through the process of quieting title and getting the property conveyed back to Weiss. Right, that was what we were told. After they didn't appear at the last meeting, I contacted Attorney Dargo's office to see what the update was. The information I received from them is the estate is working to sell it as is, or alternatively, they are set to lose it at a tax sale. Now, I have no explanation as to why you would spend a bunch of money trying to convey the property back to yourself if you would ultimately let it go at a tax sale, but that's what they're intending to do. Obviously, they're not here. I informed them that they needed to have a client representative here, which I don't think there is one. So, that.
Did you look by chance, is it on the list for tax sale?
They provided me with the tax sale notice that was sent to them.
And Tony, did you say you drove by and seen a for sale sign?
There is a real estate sign out there was last week.
Oh, they.
Let me see here, let's see here, according to the tax sale notice, Willard and Naomi Weiss are the owners. The proposed purchaser is an entity called Infinite Batteries, Inc.
So we have another investor coming in to buy something, potentially, if the tax man doesn't get it. I guess they would be the tax man.
So the tax sale was in September of last year. So I got no idea why you go through the whole process of litigation with the property being that far behind on taxes.
So they have a year, right?
So the redemption period expires September 20th of this year, and then, time for filing tax deeds. I mean, you're talking about probably the earliest Infinite Batteries could have title would be December, January-ish.
So this is a prime opportunity then to go ahead and, we have fresh title, right?
I don't think we've ever run title.
I don't think we did.
Because they always came in and were, giving us a song and dance about what the issue was with the neighbor and all that stuff.
So in my opinion, this is a great opportunity for us to issue an order to cover ourselves, because we already know it's either gonna go to tax sale or
And we
sell.
know a drop dead date of September.
Well, I mean, that's just the redemption period, right? Then,
Can that happen sooner?
no, I mean, anybody theoretically could redeem it, right? If you had $17,600, you could go in and redeem it right now.
So
well-
either they're gonna sell it before September and pay the tax debt, A. B, they're not gonna pay the tax debt. C,
And Infinite Batteries, Inc. is gonna take over.
is gonna take over as of September. And it's gonna be, they're gonna be the owners then.
I'm in agreement.
The only problem is if you issue, I mean, you can issue the demo order, it's recorded, all that stuff. If you intend to act upon it, you get into sort of the gray area, like if we knocked it down before September 20th or before Infinite Batteries took title, then you're into the gray area as to who's responsible for that. But if you're just talking about having the deed or having the order in place,
I think that's the intention.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, not looking to tear down, just looking to
and they take it subject to that.
have some vested interest in it.
So we would be issuing,
We gotta run title on this first.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
this
we've ever
would
run
be the same
title.
thing as with Cagnino, where we'd instruct the legal to proceed with the title work.
all right, I'm ready.
Okay?
All right, I'd like to make a motion to instruct our legal team to run title on 13947 Hobart Street to be done before our next meeting.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Right, moving on to item number 7, 8120 Lakeshore Drive, Bank Shots Bar and Grill, formerly Shane's Bar and Grill.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? I'm Joe Lopez with 8120 Lakeshore Drive. I'm with the update today. Our engineer submitted all the plans to the town. We're waiting for the comments back from the town, so we know what we need to address. So we are making steps. We're just waiting for our next comments to come back. So the lawyer and the engineer submitted all our plans that they required.
My understanding is that that was issued to the Plan Commission just too close to the meeting, where the engineer did not have time to review.
Right,
You
and-
asked, and so we kind of just told you, don't bother coming, because we can't even talk about it at this point.
Right.
So have you got an update since then?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've called the village and everything. I think they were waiting for one more person, maybe the fire chief, to have to review a
Oh.
couple things or something. So it was, I think, something to do with the underwater. I'm not really sure. It was something else they had to review.
Okay, yeah, I remember him saying that he wanted police and fire to go over there.
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, we're just waiting on comments back. That way we know our next step. So we're really waiting. So.
I don't want to turn our unsafe meeting into a Plan Commission meeting,
I don't
because it's
either.
not. So I mean, what, do we just defer? Because you want to move this thing along
Yes,
as much as
we're ready.
anyone
We're
else
ready to
does.
go. Yes.
But are you thinking more than a 30-day?
Well, if he comes in front of the, hopefully, you'll be on the work session for July.
Yes. That's what we're hoping for.
And then hypothetically speaking, fingers crossed, we could vote as soon as the end of July. So 30 days,
Is good enough.
well, yeah,
Would he be, I'm sorry to interrupt, would he be on, if you follow that trajectory, he'd be on the agenda for the meeting immediately following this in July?
correct.
Is that
We
what you're
would,
contemplating?
we'd see him again, fingers crossed, we could be voting on his as soon as July 17th.
So he'd already be here, just have to be here a little bit earlier for this meeting, and then go to the planning commission right afterwards.
Yeah.
If I could say, I know I was waiting for them to make comments back, so I didn't know if it was better for us to wait for them to make the comments back, maybe have one more month, that way I might be able to come with more news. Or you want, I don't mind coming next month too, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm thinking that once they make the comments back, we gotta address what they bring back to us. I just wanna make sure I come prepared. I don't wanna come and tell you guys the same thing, you know?
Yeah. I wish John was here.
I mean, if it makes it easier, I'll come back next month.
Yeah, that's the problem with being prior to a plan commission, puts us kind of cart before the horse.
Again, I don't want to make it a plan commission meeting, but I will tell you as a plan commission member, without you being there last month,
Yes.
no matter where you're along with the process, I would appreciate seeing you next month.
Okay.
So we can have, because we'll have that paperwork in front of us, and we can talk through the items that Don might have an issue with, and kind of verbally give us a plan, and then at least we know we're moving.
Okay, I would've came last month, but I spoke to my lawyer, and he said he spoke to the
No,
town.
no, totally understand,
Okay.
because you guys issued the comments too late for Don to respond.
Okay.
So it would have been a waste of time. However, next meeting, it's not gonna be a waste of time,
I'll
because
be
we'll
at
have
both
that,
meetings.
yeah, we'll have that in front of us next meeting.
Okay, sounds good, I'll be at both.
All right, I would, make a motion for, I guess, just a 30-day deferral, correct?
Correct.
30-day deferral to come to our next July 17th meeting.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Sessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, guys.
See you next month.
Thank you,
Thank
too.
you. Item number 8, 9320 West 142nd Avenue, Northwest Indiana Casas LLC, formerly Midland Trust Company, as custodian FBO, Pamela Broadway, account number 1716575.
I'm here online.
Number 7.
Okay. Do we have somebody online for this?
Online.
Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Junior Martin, 2701 West 45th Avenue, Gary, Indiana, 46408.
Tony, do you have any update on this one for us at all, or?
We spoke Monday. Evidently, there was, again, confusion with Ashley leaving. We didn't end up with a lockbox code until Monday for the place to get in there and take a look at it. So it's another thing that, like I said, we got the information too late to get in there and get a look at it. For me to go in there alone, there's too much to look at. I need more eyes on it, because I'm not gonna see everything that the other guys are gonna see too. So even if I can get time to squeeze in there, I need the other guys to go too, so we can all kind of put our eyes collectively on it. We do have the engineering report. We'd like to compare that to what we see there and see if there's any additional questions or any additional concerns. But it won't happen. Obviously, it didn't happen yesterday or today, so.
So is everything on hold until you can go through?
Pretty much,
Yeah, totally understand the lack of time on that. So
Yeah.
would you need, like, you could do it in the next 30
Oh, yeah.
days?
Yeah.
And have a report
Yeah,
back, not a
yeah.
report back for us, but information back for us?
Yep,
So there's nothing happening in the property until you can go in there?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
All right, understood.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for a 30-day deferral, and Tony will get in there sometime in the next 30 days with his crew to see how things are going, and then to come back on July 17th.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral and instruction that Tony will be going in there to do the inspection, check to see what kind of work has been done according with the engineering report that he has as well. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, 7308 West 138th Place, Pereira, formerly Parrot. Do we have anybody here for that? Nobody online?
Unlike on that email, she said she had a work conflict and she wouldn't be here.
Okay, and I did share that, I did share that email with the rest of the board. I also printed off a copy for Mr. Duckmeyer as well, just so everybody could see the same thing.
So same thing with this then.
Same thing with this. She said that she received certified letter regarding this week's meeting. Placed her home for sale, will not be able to attend meeting due to work schedule, never picked up her 30-day demo permit. Basically, she's wanting to resell it after she just purchased it.
And after you gave me that, Rich, I pulled it up, it's able to find the listing on the MLS, it was listed on June 15th, so 4 days ago. Listed for sale again after she purchased it on March 29th.
So the demo permit is set to expire next week, but she no longer needs it, so we don't have to worry about this in a case like before, where if she happens to pop in, we'll let her have it. I think this is a case of we're gonna have to run title.
Or at least update it. I know the Parrot property's been around for a while, I don't recall if we've ran it, but minimally, if we have, we'd have to update it.
So either run or update title with the intention of next time doing the initial demo order.
Okay.
I guess I need to make a motion.
Okay.
Chucking along.
Yep.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to instruct our legal team to go ahead and either update or run title on 7308 West 138th Place to be ready before our next meeting.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for instructing legal to start running the title process. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Moving on to item number 10, 14737 Bryan Street, 14737 Bryan Street Trust. Do we have anybody here for that?
No, he was instructed not to show up because we did a site inspection there already. I happened to see him out there when I was driving past, stopped and talked to him. He knew nothing about the house being on the unsafe list, of course. And he came in to get an interior demo permit that day so that they got it gutted and they're well on their way to doing good work on it. So I think you can remove it from, if you want to put it on the update items, it's up to you, but it's going in the right direction.
So with the permit, now you're keeping an eye on it
Yes.
with inspection.
Yes.
I'm fine moving this to an update. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
That's good, yeah.
Moving to an update just so it stays on
On our radar?
our radar until we see, maybe if it's completed, because you would still be doing a final, right, Tony?
Oh, he wants to rehab it, he wants to put a couple additions on it, and he had plans drawn out.
Okay,
It wasn't
I'm
just-
comfortable with
it
that.
wasn't-
Not like on a napkin, like an actual plan? Awesome, love that. I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to move 14737 Bryan Street from the active to the update item list.
Sounds good to me. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to move this item to update. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Thank you for that, Tony.
That was great. Can we have
Good
more of
news.
those?
Right.
Holy moly, someone just doing the right thing. I love it.
Yeah.
1 out of 15 is not bad.
No, is it though? Is it?
Start, that's a start.
Yeah.
If you're a baseball fan, it's not great.
Not great, not great.
All right, moving on to item number 11, 14714 Dewey Street, Urban James Linden.
Yes. You gotta stop eating this way. Well, what do you got for me?
Well, I guess the question for me is, did you do what you were instructed to do since the last meeting?
Well, what I asked was if I could get a permit or do something so I could work on some of this long list. And the only thing you told me I could do was get an appointment to meet Tony over there. And when I tried to do that, it was too late because I stopped in last week, hoping I could see him either Monday or Tuesday.
I mean, I guess my my question would be, is there a reason why you waited till last
The
week?
weather had a lot to do with it. You
I
couldn't
mean-
trust the weather. I didn't want to meet him in the rain, you know.
He won't melt, I promise you. Look at that guy. He's built for the rain.
He likes rain.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you said you were gonna meet with them pretty much the next day after we had our meeting, he said.
Yeah, this was last week.
They told me that, yeah, I stopped in last week and they called me back Monday morning and said, no, he's too busy for Monday or Tuesday. Said, you can't talk to him until after this meeting. So, I could give you my phone number. You could call me when you want to.
No.
Oh, the board scheduled these things, but on Friday, I mean, by that time, it was, you know, we're 3 days before this meeting, we already had a site inspection scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday, we do those inspections on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I couldn't believe it. Oh, we're really busy, you know.
We couldn't schedule you out next week because I didn't know what the board was going to say, so there's no way we can move forward without their direction.
Are you just, I mean, you just keep laughing
I
like.
think it was
just
last
as-
Friday. It was
Like,
last
it's
Friday.
not
He was
funny.
reaching out.
It's not funny, sir.
No, I know it's not, and I keep asking, can I fix this? I figure
Well, you
it's my
can't just get a
responsibility.
permit
Can I fix
without
it?
the building department having an understanding of the work that you're doing. So to just say, hey, I just want a permit, that's not the process, it's the building department. The process is they need to understand the work that you're wanting to do.
Well, the impression you gave me was, I can't get a permit to do anything until somehow I get off of your list here and I get passed on to the other people.
That is not it.
No.
The thing is,
Well, let's-
a scope of work is everything. The building department needs to know what you're doing for that permit. We do not allow anybody, it's not just a thing with you, we do not allow anybody just to come and get, hey, I need a building permit without any kind of scope of work or understanding of what is being done. And that was made very clear. We needed a scope of work, you needed to get with Tony, and you came
Well,
in
one of the
Friday.
previous meetings, you told me, to give you a list of what I wanted to do. There's a huge list of things that were supposed to be taken care of. So I went through and wrote out this thing about just looking at it, what I intended to do. Of course, you have to take into consideration when you start to work on it, oh, it isn't quite the way I thought, I'm gonna have to do something different.
Sure, you're right, and that's when we said that the best
you
way to do
started
it.
this thing
Well,
about
well, let me
rotten
finish,
wood.
please. We've been over this so many times. The best thing you can do is call tomorrow and schedule an appointment with Tony. I bet you he can get you in next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, fingers crossed, and we'll go from there. There's nothing we can do at this point. That's the only option we have, or we issue a demo order, which no one wants to do.
No.
Those are two options.
I want to fix, not destroy.
Great.
But you've been saying that, but you're not following the process.
Keep telling me, no, I don't have permission to do this.
We told you to see Tony, because he can't give you just a permit to do whatever the heck you want.
So-
You have to have a specific, like you want to do the foundation, or you want to do the roof. You have to let the building department issue the permit for what needs to be
Yeah, I
done.
just don't understand how your rules work.
They don't,
Because every time I show up, you end up throwing me out. Nope, they can't.
no, every time you show up, you laugh at us when you're leaving,
It's not
because
throwing
nothing
out.
happened again.
Jeff,
I'm not happy.
It's more or less the fact that we're not throwing out. You have been giving clear instruction to get with Tony so he can issue you the permit that you're wanting. And that is where you are failing to go meet with Tony. Friday before a meeting does not work. The next meeting is July 17th. So that means between now and July 17th, don't come in Friday before July 17th, because it's going to be the same story again.
Well, the one thing you guys let me do was take down the garage.
And we appreciate that.
And then Tony come over to check it out. And I talked to him, I had the impression, oh, at the next meeting, I can get a permit to work on the rest of the stuff.
If you have your scope of work and it all,
I think that was the meeting when one of the members left after the first hour, so there weren't enough people left to vote on anything.
that was several months ago. And that has nothing to do with you going in and giving Tony a scope of work, because that meeting, we couldn't make a decision. It all falls on you, meeting with Tony, getting that scope of work approved, him issuing you a permit.
Well, that's
It's
what I
that simple.
needed to know, is how I get a permit.
We told
just told you.
We told you had to see Tony, we told you that last
I
month.
think I'm getting it.
Currently, next Wednesday is open. Currently.
Currently next
So if you
month.
call,
So if I
first
call.
thing tomorrow morning, you have a very good
Tomorrow
chance
morning.
of getting a site inspection set up for next Wednesday.
Okay.
If you wait, like they said, if you wait until, next week, the week after,
More than.
no.
Yeah, okay.
And what happens is, we don't show up for Tony on Wednesday.
Yeah, I know what
Do
this
the
is.
demo permit, we'll issue it, you're just lying to us all the time. You've got, we made it specific last month, that you go with Tony, and you wait till the Friday before a meeting, thinking you just can come in and everybody's gonna wait on you.
It does.
Everybody's busy, everybody's got jobs.
Yeah, I don't wanna do that.
You
Didn't
can't,
realize he was that busy.
why? Why wouldn't he be that busy? You see what our agenda is? He's always busy. He's in charge of the
So are
town.
we clear what you need to do tomorrow morning?
Call and get an appointment
For when?
next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Perfect. So
Okay, are
I'll,
we clear? And this doesn't mean that Tony's gonna reach out to you. You have got to call the building department tomorrow.
Nicole, ask for Nicole.
Nicole. Okay.
Okay.
all right, I'll go ahead and make a motion for a 30-day deferral. I think we're crystal clear
What's gonna happen in
what's
30
gonna happen
days?
in between.
All right,
I'll second what's gonna happen in 30 days.
all right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
Now, you understand what that means. You've gotta get Tony tomorrow,
Yeah.
the meeting,
The following, next Wednesday.
and then if you refuse to do that, or if you have an excuse, you leave us no option.
All
I
right.
haven't been looking for excuses.
Well, you
For
better come in
all right,
there.
no, we need to keep moving this along. We have another meeting after this. We have item number 12, 8705 West 132nd Place, Kubiak Properties Incorporated.
See you next.
Yes, I hear you.
What was that?
Name and address for the record, please.
My phone for my diabetic.
2525 Waymaker Way, Austin, Texas.
All right, let me pull this up real quick. Okay, this one's for the house. All right, so could you give us, some idea on what your intentions are with the property, and have you seen the report?
I have not seen the report. This property, again, I guess we can start here, but we just sold the property, it's not sold, but we have a pending agreement. It's supposed to be sold within the next 2 weeks with a gentleman, Troy Bates.
Can I ask everyone to stop talking?
Yeah, I can't hear too well,
anything.
so, sorry about that. Could you say that last part again?
Yeah, we have a gentleman that wants to buy that property and rehab it right away. Troy Bates, B-A-T-E-S. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that should be a done deal. He's working on a purchase agreement.
Okay. Any thoughts?
Same as the others then.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the other ones we had? Same kind of deal?
That's what she said, yes.
Yeah, 'cause it's not, he's got,
I mean, 3 weeks, you know.
The only downfall from a financial standpoint is if that does happen in 3 weeks, we would have already ordered title and then you've needlessly spent $300.
Exactly, and that's the last thing I want to do.
But
However,
the flip side of the coin, of course, is nothing happens in 3 weeks and then we're here in 4 weeks and we're having the same song and dance. So that's the decision you guys
That's
can make.
that we've been in on several of these. I mean, it needs to stay on.
Do you guys have the report for that house in front of you? Is it unsafe or is it unsafe?
Did you hear that, Tony? He's asking about the report, if it is unsafe or it is unsafe. I've had, some emails in the past, I wanna say, I believe it was even in January, when we did not have the meeting and we turned it into a work session, some complaints of some neighbors and stuff, animals, raccoons, stuff like that coming out from under the foundation and the structure of the building.
Rich, if I may.
Yes.
So there's five items on here that make it unsafe. The structure has an impaired structural condition that makes it unsafe. The unsafe premises constitutes a fire hazard. The unsafe premises constitutes a hazard to public health. The unsafe premises constitutes a nuisance. The unsafe premises constitutes a danger to persons and property because of several violations of codes and ordinances governing building, construction, and maintenance. So unsightly and unsafe is the answer.
Okay, so what do you guys want to do? It's going to be sold in 2 weeks. If it's not, we tear it down?
Are you saying if it's not sold in 2 weeks, you're tearing it down, or you're asking if we're tearing it down?
No, I can tear it down if it's not sold, but I would like, 30 or 60 days since this is my first notice. And I will, of course, I'll tear it down if I. Or rebuild it, right? I mean.
So, Mr. Dittmeyer, how could we do that in a motion with what Mr. Kubiak said, that if it's set to sell and the sale doesn't happen, he says he'll tear it down in 2 weeks? How can we?
Or rebuild it.
Or rebuild it. I mean.
Yeah, so can I get, maybe revisit this in 30 days to see if it's sold? And if it's not, I'll either have plans for construction or a tear down. How about that?
What's your thoughts with that, Heather, since this is the first time we're speaking with Mr. Kubiak?
It is the first time. Tony, does this need, I haven't been over there in probably a month. Does this need anything on the outside to make it?
So every time kids break windows out, the windows get boarded up. I think there's one window left because they keep getting broken out. So it's, again, same as the barn, it's not readily accessible.
So what can be done to make it safe, secure, I'm sorry, not safe, secure?
It is secure, it's just, it's decreasing the value of the property around it due to its condition.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you understand the urgency on this, right? Mr. Kubiak?
Well, it's been, not really, I guess. This is the first time I've heard it, so. This gets put on the list?
You're fresh on the list here, yep.
Okay. I would think 60 days, 60 days is urgent.
I mean, I think since you're saying it's gonna be sold in 2 weeks, even if it takes an extra week, I'm fine with, I'm fine with 30 days.
We're waiting on I just said 2 weeks, but we're waiting on the guy to come up with his purchase agreement, so it could be tomorrow.
And I kind of.
I have the amount he wants to pay, that's all, that's what I know.
So I can agree with 60 days if you are, for the fact that we'll know, or if a new owner comes in and does have plans, comes in and gets this, or do you think it needs to be sooner? Right, so you think 30 days?
If it's not sold by the next meeting, then I will move forward to either fix it and have plans, or demo it.
So 30 days, we're gonna have deferral?
Yeah, that's
In
what I
30 days, you'll have an
Yeah, 30 days. Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion for a 30-day deferral.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral. In a second, can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Bethauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. All right, item number 13. Mr. Kubiak, you're still here for that one. Do we still need to have him state his name and address, Mr. Dittmeyer?
Yeah, just clear it up for the record.
Okay, for the record, could we get your name and address again for this item?
Robert Kubiak, 2525 Waymaker Way, Austin, Texas.
All right, what's your intentions with this parcel here in the building?
I started about a month ago cleaning the perimeter of the building to try to keep the kids out of there, just make it clean so the police can get in there and actually drive around the building. My long-term plan is to make a neighborhood. I met with a company already and we subdivided it into 50 single-family homes and then make condominiums out of the large building.
is what I would like to do, you know, we want to work with the town to get temporary power out there, so we can actually put lights around the building, and put an automated gate. So, again, if somebody comes in, then we can see them with the cameras, it calls the police, and then the police are able to enter quickly with an automatic gate and catch people if they're out there. I heard that you guys said there was something on social media, that there were people out there recently.
Yeah, so after one of the meetings, when it was secured a time prior, shortly after, I believe it was right around Halloween, there were photos of, you know, Halloween photos taken, in doorways and stuff like that, and just, it was shortly after a meeting when it was secured, so.
Well, I know that Tim went out there and secured the roof again, he put a big steel plate on there. I think he said he was gonna give you guys pictures of that.
I got a picture of it. Yesterday.
And then, like I said, I think the only way to keep that thing secure is to, I think last year, 5 or 6 kids got arrested in Charlotte for going out there. And I think if we get lit up and, you know, temporary power and start, again, I'm starting to clean that building up, so.
I mean, I like the idea of the security aspect of it, to keep kids out of it. I mean, this thing has been on in front of this board for years, for quite a while, and this is, I'm gonna say, it sounds like the best news moving forward, at least for security, as far as having lights and stuff, but nevertheless, you know, it's just, Tony?
It is starting to be, you know what I mean, we are finally, I just bought that property, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm finally getting to the point I have some time to start, you know, focusing on it. So we're already working with the designer for the plan of that building, so things are gonna happen. It's not gonna be like this forever. So, if I can make it secure and, you know, I want to start cleaning it up and putting windows and putting doors and be able to enter the lower floor, so I need to make it secure. Well, when I spend money, the kids, you know, it's not getting destroyed, that's what it's about.
So what's your time frame on this then, for all the stuff that you mentioned? I'm getting that done.
Cleaning it up for...
And the lights and everything you stated with the gate and stuff like that, as far as...
I would like to start ASAP. I need to get, I guess with the town, my brother is gonna get with the town and see if we can get temporary power. I guess that's step one. And he said they have to grant that access because we're not actually pulling the permit. All we're doing is using that for security and cameras and a gate. So ASAP.
What about the perimeter?
Why not perimeter?
Perimeters, the gates are down. Sorry, we got the fence pretty much. People can watch it.
What's your thoughts?
Well, I was actually bringing that up too. I mean, the exterior it looks worse now than it did 3 years ago.
I believe
You can't see the exterior, it's a mile off the street.
I'm talking about the grass and the gates and the fencing and...
Yeah. So I don't know if it was worse. I had the grass cut, but I heard it was not,
Right, I believe that it states that it needs to be 50 foot from the roadway.
Okay. Well, you know, I had some guys go out there and cut it, and they said the terrain was so terrible that they couldn't cut it with a lawnmower. So I think we have to go out there with a bigger machine and bush hog it again.
So,
And fill in some of those practices so we can actually mow it with a lawnmower.
I do understand some of the terrain is definitely an issue, especially along the west side of the property, with woods and swamp area. How does that, how do we, I mean, I know grass needs to be 50 foot from the road.
Yeah.
But when you walk into woods, what's the,
It's not my job to figure that out.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, did we do a good enough job when we cut it with the bush hog, the last, I don't know when that was. But I know Tim was keeping it up with the bush hog, but I don't think that's a nice clean cut grass.
I think it could have been a little bit better of a job, and definitely the 50-foot, for one.
Yeah.
You know, and like, a lot of stuff I've heard of, as well as the condition of the fence in the front and everything else, kind of adds to the, unsightliness of it.
Yeah, and you know what, I would love to just tear that fence down, because then that's giving people access to get back there easier again. You know what I mean?
However, if we do have, you know, if you do put up these security lights and everything like that, ASAP, is that a necessity that the fence would need to be there?
I mean, the fence isn't doing anything now
It
because
is
it's not up.
It's
So-
not, so I would be fine with this fence being tore down, and as long as the lights are up, and security and no police can get in there, is that?
Yeah, what's the, I'm not familiar with the town granting access for power. Can someone fill me in on how that works? Is that a thing?
Yeah, Tim is supposed to be tracking, I think he's coming to a meeting a little bit later today, so you may, if you wanted to ask him.
That temporary connection usually
It's
accompanies
different, because the only thing we're using it for is security and, you know, security cameras and lights, so they would have to grant a special permission.
Dave's responding.
So Dave, I couldn't quite hear what you were saying.
I know, electricity typically trails or tracks with the, permit that issued for improvement.
So that would be like an exception that the town would make saying, we're not issuing you a permit, but we're allowing you to have,
Correct.
and who's gonna make that call?
Building department and NIPSCO.
So if NIPSCO says yes, then who at the building department level makes that decision?
Whoever is in charge of permits.
Would that be with our instruction of saying make it happen, if it's feasible?
If it's feasible, you can direct it.
Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Would be
so,
appreciated.
so if we're saying, go ahead and get the power out there for security purposes, you're gonna put up cameras, you said?
Yeah, cameras and lights.
Cameras and lights and some sort of like a motion system, so you're saying if people did come on the property, that the motion would go off and that you'd be able to call the cops?
Correct.
I mean,
And then, like I said, I've been clearing the perimeter of that building, so, I mean, now you can actually drive a car or a semi back there and drive around that building. I mean, before it was, you couldn't even get around there, I mean, it was very hazardous. So, the police cars can get to the back of there, you know, if they have an automatic gate, you know, within a minute, they can be in the back of the building. So if anyone next goes there, it's gonna get cost.
with the fence being down, if it gets taken down and removed, the grass being taken care of, and electric there, so you can have some sort of security system and lights, I mean, I think that's progress.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely progress.
I'd be fine with that, but
It'd be beautiful, it would.
I'd be fine with that, but I would want another update in 30 days.
Okay.
That's my thought. I mean, you're gonna be here for the other property anyways.
Yeah, let's start working on the power, so I'll have Tim try to get that moving. That would be a dream come true for me.
Okay.
I think, and just the order of that needs to be power first and then fence down.
Yeah. Okay.
How do I, what is that?
I mean, we'll start working as fast as we can. Like I said, that would be, I would love to get power out there.
Deferral for 30 days. Instruction of the building department to issue a permit for the electricity. Does he need a permit to demolish the fence, or no, Tony?
To remove the fence, I wouldn't think so.
Okay, so we don't need to, I mean, it would still be an emotion that's an understanding Ms. Kubiak has to take the fence down within the 30 days. We're going to instruct the building department to issue a permit so they can run electric, so he can get his lights and security. How about a permit for the gate?
And I was just thinking, it would probably not make sense to put up a gate if we're taking down the fence.
Well, I'm thinking the same thing as well, because they'll just walk around it, but
Or drive around it.
but it would keep the honest person from just everybody and their brother driving back there. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Well, but
Does
if,
that make sense to you or no?
But if the security thing is set up and there's trespassers and they're trespassing and the cops get called.
Yeah, I know, but we don't want people driving in there like.
My thought is people just driving in, you know.
Yeah, I go there just like with a machine and leave that gate open for a day, and there's 5 people that come back there.
I know that firsthand. I'm extremely familiar with
So the fence comes down and there's a gate up?
a gate over the drive entrance. So that way, you know, we could not, anybody just out sightseeing cannot drive back there and prematurely call police just because they're back there on the parcel.
Okay, so fence comes down, gate goes up.
And really, I mean, if we could just work together and look at it, you know, once we tear down that fence, maybe we leave some of that stuff growing. I know you guys have an ordinance, but it's gonna look a lot better. But I think the fence is the ugly thing, you know what I mean, not necessarily the grass. So maybe trim the grass and leave some of the grass a little further back so people aren't driving through it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm saying fence.
Beautiful looking lawn, people are just gonna, you know, they're not gonna be afraid to drive through it.
Yeah, the grass is just 50 feet, but obviously there has to be some sort of a pathway for emergency vehicles to get back there.
And there's still a drive to get back there.
Yeah, then I'm fine.
So you understand the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay?
All right, make a motion.
But please be careful, if there's a precedent about to be set with a motion, a second, and a vote, we've got other developers with large pieces of land who have similar, albeit not identical for sure, parcels, and you're gonna set some standards here. Talking about the weeds, and talking about the access, and we know where those properties are.
Well, I kind of understand where you're coming from, Dave. So if we're asking Mr. Kubiak that he has to follow our code with the 50-foot from the roadway, that pertains to another parcel very close to us, actually 2, from where we're at right now.
And they're not the only ones. We
I know.
have developers with property.
But most obvious.
Yes. Just making sure we pay attention.
You understand what
What's
that?
the suggestion then?
Well, this is what's in front of us. The grass is not mowed within the 50 feet. I understand what Dave is saying. We have to look at what's in front of us right now. We also have to not forget what our ordinance is with these vacant lots that are not mowed to the 50 foot. You understand what I'm saying? So I see what you're saying, Dave, but in the same sense, we are looking at this parcel right now. So,
Well, you are, but Rich, again, your actions can be precedent in nature, and you might have other developers start walking in front of us asking for relief. You might see that at the DDA level, you might see that with waiver requests on subdivision plats, we don't know,
right,
but it's our code.
Open up a can of worms.
okay.
It'd be hard to distinguish if we're treating people differently or...
I mean, I just want to see the instruction to give the permit for the electric so we can get security, lights, and stuff like that. You know, and the fence, the eyesore of a fence being taken down.
I'm leaving grass on my feet.
I'm good with it. You ready?
No, yes. I'll make a motion, to instruct the building department to go ahead and issue a permit so they can get electric out there, with the understanding that the owner is going to get security cameras, lights, a automated gate up in front of the drive, and take the fencing down.
What about the grass?
Nothing, with an update in 30 days.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, have a good evening.
You too. Moving on to item number 14, 13333 Lemoore Street, Vogel.
Hello,
Hello.
this is Eric Vogel, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there.
Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
The property address?
No, I actually need your name and address.
Okay, it's Eric Vogel, and the address is 1239 Seafair Street, Ventura, California, 93-001.
All right. So have you seen a copy of your report?
No. The first thing we got was an email saying that we're supposed to be on the Zoom call, but we're basing on a fact-finding mission to figure out what's going on and what we need to do.
Why was this report not sent to them?
I think because we're missing Ashley. Same reason the report wasn't sent to Mr. Kubiak.
And just so the council does know that, we are, currently in discussions with, bringing somebody on board to not necessarily fill that position, but creating something, that will help out with this type of, situation between communications with boards and commissions and building department.
Do you want me to read this portion to him, at least?
If you would, please.
There's two sections on here. The findings are that the site, can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly clear.
The siding, windows, and doors are in disrepair, which is allowing structure to rot. A broken basement window at ground level allows varmints and insects to enter the building. The interior structure of the building is severely compromised from years of rot, faulty modifications, and very poorly performed reconstruction. The plumbing, electrical, and HVAC has all been dangerously modified, replaced, added to over the past years. Basement floor is constantly wet from leaking cinder block walls. For those reasons, the structure is an impaired structural condition, which makes it unsafe to persons or property. The unsafe premises constitutes a fire hazard, hazard to public health, a nuisance, and danger to persons and property because of several violations of codes and ordinances governing building construction and maintenance. So that's the two main parts of the report, and then the following is just pictures of the exterior, which, can we get this?
Other than that, everything's good with it?
What's that?
Other than that, everything's good with it?
Well, that's not, I don't think that's what they're saying. The building department, I don't know what kind of access you've had to the interior of the building,
We were in, where's that report?
the basement.
Yeah, we were in the basement, January 17th. And that was the main concern. That was the start of the concerns. I mean, the exterior is not pretty, obviously. Yeah, the structure, and I went back and forth with your wife, sir, quite a few times in trying to stress that you need a general contractor. I kept receiving emails from I believe it's a carpentry contractor, but we won't run this job for you. You need a general contractor who can manage this, and I mean that's the start.
Well, we've been in contact with a couple general contractors for that, to replace that beam in the basement.
You need a lot more than that, and that's where the general contractor comes into this, because the carpentry contractor can replace the beam, that's fine, but all the rest of the mechanicals, the floor joists, someone needs to run this job.
Right, we've had two people running the job so far, and both, it's not going well for us, let's just say that. So we're moving on to trying to get somebody that we can trust go in there. We're also, at the same time, thinking about selling this property because we've had such bad luck with some of the local contractors.
If the interest is to find a general contractor, there is a list on the town website of licensed contractors with the town. That would be a good place to start, is the town's website to reach someone, if that's your goal. There was a tenant in this unit. Are they gone?
They are gone. They moved out, I believe, at the beginning of the year.
So is your goal to get it fixed, or is your goal are you thinking about selling it, or you guys aren't sure?
We are straddling that fence right now and wondering whether or not to dump more were to spend more money, we've already spent a lot of time and money on it, because we've had a couple sort of semi-seeds that have worked for us. So we're kind of downtrodden and dejected about the property at this moment.
I would definitely encourage you to look at the town website for that list, if that's the direction that you want to go. These are people that are licensed with the town, that have worked within the town.
Okay, we will definitely look on that, at that website. Is it in the building and safety section?
It's like right on the main page, there's a click down for it, isn't there?
Okay.
The website's pretty
It is on the town
user-friendly.
website.
It moved around, but I think it's right in the main menu bar, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll find it if you click around.
Okay, and we can hire licensed people to do the work, correct?
Yeah, I think what Tony is saying is that you have to start with the general contractor, so, like the construction boss. So he would come in there and give a scope of work, and then hire people underneath him to maybe do plumbing or HVAC or foundation work or whatever it is. But that
So it would be an owner-builder deal.
What's that?
It cannot be an owner-builder deal. I know we're used to sort of trying, we've actually, the last person we had was sort of a general contractor, and it didn't work out. So we can't actually hire our own plumber, electrician.
At this point, we would need a GC to come in with a scope of work, with...
Can we create a scope of work, or no?
You being in California, it would be very hard for you to run this remotely, and being a investment property, you don't have vested interest in it. You're not the owner tenant, or the owner, tenant, yeah, occupant. And that's something that we do require a general contractor to head those things.
If somebody doesn't live in the property, they have to hire a general contractor.
Right.
And, after you get that GC and he gives you that scope of work, you can work with him to choose your other licensed contractors that you want to use. But that GC needs to get his boots on the ground to get a scope of work.
All you need is a scope of work from a GC, but then we can hire out as we see fit.
Generally, yes, as long as they're licensed with the town, which, as long as they're licensed within the county, they can very easily get licensed within the town. But it all has to be done by a licensed contractor.
Okay. Is that report something you can email to us?
Yeah, absolutely. This should have been sent to you, and we apologize for that. We've had some staff changes, so that's an apology. But, yeah, the whole report will be sent to you tomorrow morning. Is that doable? Whoever can do that?
I'm sure.
Yeah, we can get that sent to you tomorrow morning.
Tony, just so we're clear, is that something that Christina would handle in the building department?
No. She has, unless that's something
So who in the building department right now, since Ashley is not there, I've shared the emails that we've received from some of the other, items on the list. Nicole was in contact with some.
I believe I have Lauren Vogel's email just from going back and forth about needing a general contractor, so I can email that report to her. As far as general terms, who usually does it, it would have been Ashley, with that position being vacated.
Yeah.
I don't know where that finger gets pointed at.
All right.
So right now, we know where it's getting pointed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so.
Two fingers right at you, Tom.
Right.
So this stuff was noticed by Tony?
Say that again?
Like, who brought this to everybody's attention that it's an unsafe building? Is that the inspector?
That was the three of us who were in there in January on the 17th with one of the prior contractors who was not a general contractor. The three of us were in that basement, and it was not anything that should be inhabited at this point.
The basement.
So the building, the basement.
Right, I mean, obviously, we don't have anybody in there because we were
Right, at that time, there was one tenant at that time.
Right, and it's the beam that you think is unsafe because it's going to collapse?
more than that. And with you, with you not being on site, have you looked at the building in person?
No.
Right, that's a huge problem, that's a huge, if you haven't seen it in person, if you can't view it in person, it's hard to explain the severity of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, we get updated with a bunch of pictures and videos and that stuff, but we have quotes to fix, some of the stuff with this general contractor that we were talking to. It just, the numbers got to be such that we're thinking, we should sell it. But we didn't know we were on an unsafe building list until we got this email from, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or something? 2 weeks ago. But anyway, so what do you need from us at this point? I mean, obviously you want the building fixed.
So, I think our intention, or at least I don't want to speak for everyone, my intention is you've not seen the report yet. This is the first time it's been on our list. I'd like to get this sent to you tomorrow. I think now you've got some direction to find a licensed, reputable GC in our town. If you choose to go that way, you can do that. And then it sounds like you're also on the fence about possibly selling. So for now, my intention would be to give you 30 days to find a GC, pull permits if you need, at least get some sort of a scope of work going, or come back in 30 days and say, hey, I'm going to sell it.
All right, I know from our last, it took us about 45 days to get a GC to actually go out there. So I mean, 30 days is really, that's tight.
Yeah, well,
at a time, somebody who's actually good, who's
we're
really busy working on jobs. I mean, 30 days seems almost impossible.
So we're not saying that we're going to demolish your building in 30 days. What we're saying is that we need some sort of an update. Yes, I contacted a GC, they're coming out to the property. No, we've decided to put it up for sale. Some sort of an update in the next 30 days, or at our next meeting.
Can we email you an update versus sitting in on Zoom for 2 hours? Is that something that works or no?
What are your thoughts?
Or talk to Tony?
I mean,
It seems weird to listen to everybody else's problems for
It certainly does,
4
yeah.
hours. Especially people don't show up and then.
Tony, what's your thoughts on, as long as there's active
Want me to communicate
communication?
with him, that's fine with me, that's fine. I can update you guys as long as he
Yeah, I appreciate it.
stays in contact with me.
So are you still wanting a 60 days? Are you thinking there still needs to be something?
Well, it has to be something.
I don't want to...
have your phone number?
Email. That's fine.
So can we do a 30-day deferral with Tony being our communication point on where we're looking at in the process with an update, where Mr. Vogel does not have to be on at this point with this situation, or?
I don't know how to say that. What are you saying now? A 30-day deferral means you would have to be back here in 30 days. You're saying,
But never, I mean, it still needs to stay on active unsafe. So are you saying 60 days, but we also know that Tony's going to be in communication with them as far as what's going on with the GC?
that's what I would say. Josh, thoughts?
60 days or 30?
I say 60 with Tony staying in communication with Vogels and with our safe department.
Yeah.
Understand that, Tony?
All right, I'd like a motion, make a motion for a 60-day deferral, with the understanding that the owners will keep in touch with Tony in the meantime, and that Tony will then give us updates.
No second.
All right, we have a motion for a 60-day deferral, and Tony will be in contact with the Vogels as far as any updates necessary.
Yeah, and I guess I would just also ask that, I mean, the exterior, while not beautiful, is being kept up, that you guys do continue to keep up the exterior.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I know we did get one siding quote from a licensed person.
I mean, mainly the grass and the weeds and things like that.
Yeah, we have a gardener come out every week.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Deshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. All right, finally, item number 15, 7-1.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that. Item number 15, 7512 West 128th Lane. Do we have anybody here for that? Anybody online? With the situation with the last one,
I did reach out to Simon Rostevsky after our last meeting. I believe he heard from Cheryl as well. Pretty much told him that if you don't want to come to the next meeting, get a demo permit for the house and get it done, get it gone.
okay.
And it sounded like he was going to do something, but we haven't seen a permit, and he's not here. So, here we are.
Do we have title on this?
Probably from a long time ago.
So not current.
Because this thing went through the tax sale process, and then
I'm seeing different
is this
names.
the one where you had to acquire like secondary parcels on either side of it? It's been a while. This one's been festering.
The report, July 20th, 2021,
That sounds about right.
under a different name.
Yeah, because you got it through the tax sale.
When did he acquire it?
Probably 22 or early 23, if I had to guess.
What are you thinking? You gotta get moving here.
Yes, we do. Tony, is it possible for you to reach back out to him?
Have we seen him?
Yes. I don't know if you were on the board at that time, were you? I mean, this is going back a couple of years.
I don't remember him at all.
Okay. Yeah, he had been in here a few times.
Why hasn't anything been done? Did it go away? Did it go off the list?
He was on an update, I believe, for a while.
Yeah, I was on an update. He was working on getting the adjacent lots or an adjacent lot, which he did through tax sale, so. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess a deferral,
Mm-hmm.
but this is another one that's been way too long. I guess if he's not at the next meeting, we go ahead with title and
Absolutely.
moving along.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for a 30-day deferral, and ask Tony. Tony, you don't have much going on, so could you please
No,
reach
I'm
out
good,
to him?
yeah.
Don't do it Wednesday morning. Leave yourself
See
open.
if you can get some answers.
You would like him to appear at the next, basically give him the same ultimatum, tear the house down or be at the next meeting?
Or let him know that we're going to proceed with
Right.
that.
Right.
I'll second.
All right. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. All right, moving on to update items. Item number 12901 Hilltop Lumberger. This one was recently demolished. Hey, Tim, are we still waiting on you to finish the grade, or?
It's actually finished now, I just need to do the bill, so.
Looks
good.
So we just need to do the bill. Okay. Item number 2, 14523 Bryant Street, Cox. Tony, you have an update on this one?
The walls are down. He hasn't called for a final on his demo there. If the deck is 30 inches or more off the grade, he will need to add proper rails and balusters, all that. So, kind of waiting on that, but the walls are down. I know that, I can see that from the street.
Okay. Items 3 and 4, Fernwood and Windsor Street, both by the same, are on the order that I believe expires in October.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The item number 5, 7029 West 135th Avenue Ward, Tim recently did tear that one down.
Capped
Tim,
off the well today, and that should be wrapped up for the next thing too, so.
to get ready for the billing and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to item number 6, 7020 West 139th, Land Bank, same story with that one?
That one is done also, yes.
Yep. Okay, item 7 and 8 are the town-owned properties. We're currently working on 127th Lane, right, Tim, with
Yeah,
getting
now
that
that
garage?
it's dry, we hopefully can get that thing taken out here shortly, so.
Yeah, and then the last one on Edison, we still have, that one's a logistical situation on actually getting back to that one to tear it down, to say the least. And that's a town-owned property.
Tim, that 127, did you get access to it? Did that,
I did not as of yet, but I'm going to do it now. I needed to wait for it to dry up before we do it, so I'm thinking that we will be fine, but if not, we can use the adjacent property and do it either way, so.
okay, you feel okay about one way or another being able to get to
I
it?
won't be able to do it one way or the other, but I feel that now that we're gonna be ready to do it, I'll touch base with that guy, and I think he'll be okay with letting us get access, but if not, we can access it right to the west and get it done, so.
Okay.
Now that it's dry.
Is the original woman still interested in purchasing that?
The last I talked and received correspondence, yes, she is.
So that would be something that would come down and then the town would be able to sell it to retrieve it. Fine. Perfect. Awesome.
All right, do we have any public comment for unsafe building? Any public comment for unsafe building?
Yes, I do.
If you could please come up and state your name and address.
All right. Gino Gagnina, building 109, West 128. I need to be more clear and have some clarification on the full title of a property. If it doesn't have anything to do with being sold to the, you know, where we're going with this, other than private, where I'm selling to somebody else, why are we pulling title on a property? This goes for everybody.
Because the Indiana code requires us to notify the property owner and anyone that has a substantial interest in the property. The only way we can identify who holds a substantial interest in the property is to run a title report to see who has those interests.
Wouldn't that be the title company doing that?
Yeah.
At the time of purchase, closing?
Anybody can order a title policy on any property as long as you pay for it.
Who's paying for it?
The town.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at before about, is there any proof of, I don't want to get any bills on, hey, they're pulling property title, you know, so.
Why would you get a bill?
Okay, that's good.
The town is the one that's ordering the policy.
But
The
I also-
person ordering it, they're the ones that are responsible.
But I'm also saying that that's personal business, that's private business, that's my private thing, that's my record.
Yeah, they're based on public records, right? The title company pulls information based upon the public record.
Okay, so.
That's all we'll get.
All right,
So whatever's out there, the title company picks up on a judgment search, a lien search,
All
mortgage
right,
search.
but all I saw was pros here, but what's the cons to this to me? You know, so, okay, I just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
All right. That should be it then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, third time, any public comment on unsafe building?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Brothers, 145-13 Morris. I wrote down a couple nice notes tonight. There was a couple things that brought some concern to me, and I hope that you'll give me just a couple minutes of patience. Throughout the night, we've discussed a lot of properties, as you already know, and a lot of them, you know, have the same situation. And you talked about it at length on multiple properties of how we go about finding out how to proceed with the work. In fact, it's referred to as the scope of work. And we referred to general contractors and how they handle things, and a lot of that dialogue has brought up a lot of concern for me. And we talked about, in the past, multiple people have talked about the rehab companies that are coming through town and jumping on these, let's say, old buildings, and finding out right away that they're a lot worse off than they thought and moving on. The concern that I have, and based on a couple of things tonight, earlier tonight we just threw out a 30-day permit without a scope of work. So, I mean, what if the scope of work has foundation work? I mean, you couldn't get an architect to come in and look at it within 30 days and draw up a plan on how to fix it. And that brings up the second situation. Well, if we have council members and of course our inspectors going out and making a decision on what level of work needs to be done, well then, if a flipper gets away with one little thing and sells that house to a family, and a child gets injured, and they find out that it was a town council member or an inspector that gave the sign-off on a structural situation or any situation for that matter, that puts liability solely on the town board, the Unsafe board, along with the residents that'll have to foot the bill in court. And I've done a lot of this work through my history of 40 years, about 37 years being a contractor. I've done a lot of rehab work. And in most places, anytime there was a building that came off of a situation like this and unsafe, it was titled unsafe. Most places wouldn't even consider it without the architect's drawing on the structure. And therefore, the town is protected from liability, being that, and of course, I don't know that Tony, I'm sure, Tony, I don't mean to disrespect you, but I'm guessing you don't have an architectural engineering degree. You don't have the seal, the stamp, anything approved. And of course, nobody sitting up here does either, and nobody behind us. Is there one in our town department, our public works? Probably not. So my point is we're leaving ourselves open for a lot of liability with as many things that are churning, as many houses that are flipping, as many things as we're going to look at, right? I think maybe it's time to pull the trigger on maybe to put in writing, not relying on a general contractor, but making sure when a building comes off unsafe, there's something in writing by a certified architect that protects the town from these situations coming back later down the road. Now, if it's a flipper, they're going to cover it. Anything nobody sees, they're going to cover it, and they're going to put new lipstick on it. You know exactly what's going to happen. You're not going to know who they are a year later. So for protection of these old buildings, for the protection of our residents, for the protection of you, Tony, you're the one that's going out and looking at them, right? Everybody's going to be mad at you if something goes wrong. So I would just hope that maybe some thought gets put into it, how we can solidify that protection, whether it be put in an ordinance that if it gets to this level, it's automatic. I don't think Rich, I can't even imagine why you want to take the responsibility of going out there and say, yeah, no, we don't need structural work there, just go ahead and put new drywall, we're going to go ahead and move on. I know you don't want to have that liability or that responsibility had something gone horribly wrong with a wall falling in or a roof caving in because something got missed. And I'm not saying we miss things. I don't want you to take this personally, Tony. I don't want to make that an issue.
We're not superheroes.
Exactly. In being a builder, there's things I've missed. And inspectors have came and said, what about this? And I'm like, so to protect everybody, I think with the amount of growth, with the amount of builders coming, with all these things happening so fast, I think it's time maybe that some discussion gets start putting to that of how we protect these rehabs. These are turning so fast. I don't know that our town council wants to take that responsibility on. I know the residents don't want to have to pay a liability lawsuit down the road because something was missed. So I would hope that did not fall on deaf ears tonight. I have a couple other things. On the last items, the last two items I have on the Kubiak property, I agree wholeheartedly. I think cleaning it up, lighting, cameras, the whole bit, all great ideas. A couple questions to those. I get the temporary permit, but that doesn't mean the town's going to pay for that electric, correct? That'll be on his bill.
That will be on him.
And then also the installation of those temporary poles and temporary wires, that also would be on
the property owner.
I did attend a great meeting, I want to say about a week back, and we talked a lot about intersection safety, and in fact, some of the things we talked about in that meeting were vision, both setback from the road for darkness, for obvious reasons, and also line of sight. We had vision problems with signage, and I think there was a total of 8 locations that were mentioned in the meeting. And in fact, one of the locations was on Klein and Vermillion, which is, I believe, the southeast corner of that property. And it's a jungle there you cannot see, and if you look west going up the hill at Klein, I mean, you literally got to have your nose in Klein to be able to see that hill. And I'm sure everybody here knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm hoping that along with that cleanup, we can get that line of sight back, and of course, make that considerably safer at that intersection. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Sherry.
Angie Michaelajczyk, 12806 Lee Court. I'm trying how to articulate what I want to say to you. I'm not trying to overwhelm the Plan Commission, which follows your meeting tonight. However, during this past week, there had arose a question regarding a contractor that had changed over property name, changed over company names. So I did a research on this particular company, and I had discovered that there were some quit claim deeds for an address listed at 13934 Hobart Street. So I put that in on my Google Maps, and it turned up to be in the location of the house of 13947 Hobart Street of Weiss, which is on your unsafe building list. Now, according to your legal team, they had instructed that this property was going to go to sheriff's sale, if I'm not mistaken.
Tax sale.
Tax sale. So I had did some research, and the quitclaim deed property is actually a brand-new home built that sold for approximately $387,000, and it's actually located on Fernwood, which is an undeveloped road. That is owned by the same contractor that had built my house that had obtained property through a sheriff's sale. The additional thing that I would like to say is on that Weiss home here on Hobart Street and the location across the street, there are currently Macaulay signs on the for sale signs on it. Now the signs are by Christine Dargo. Christine Dargo was my realtor, which is the mother of the attorney that is representing Weiss. So it's a lot of information that's kind of coming together, and it seems to me as if this particular contractor is buying up these unsafe buildings in this general area. Perhaps them going to sheriff's sale and picking them up through Macaulay, which unfortunately I had an incident that I had to call on this particular contractor, and the person in the home was a Macaulay broker. So there's something going on between the contractor's unsafe building and this realtor. So I don't know where to turn to let you know.
Okay, this is something that we can take the address down. I know I've seen Heather write it down as well.
Yeah,
I'm following completely what you're saying.
thank you very much. It's
Yeah.
13934.
We will definitely look into that.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, and the thing is, the reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is because I put on Facebook, I said, how could this property have been sold of 13934 Hobart Street when it doesn't exist? And I got a response saying, oh, that's the house on Fernwood. And the builder that's building it is buying the two properties right around the corner, which are one of the ones that are on the unsafe list.
13947 Hobart Street.
Yes. And in addition to that, just because, this other person chimed in and said they just set concrete out. And there was concrete washed out behind my house on the hill. So it's all going to tie in together, but I just wanted you to know there's something going on with the unsafe and builders and maybe like a planned unit development, just not all together.
Buying up the pieces is what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. So I just wanted to let you know. If I'm wrong, so be it, but I couldn't rest without you knowing what I found out.
We'll definitely look into that.
Thank you very much.
I will say if I need anyone to do any investigation, you're the one I'm calling.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, did we have any more public comment on this, on safe? Anybody online, Cheryl?
No.
Okay, real quick, I did have some written communication I just received before the meeting from a resident, Donna Corey. She just wanted to reiterate on the houses that she mentioned at the last meeting during public comment, and she just wanted to for me to restate that she still has the same concerns, and I believe this was mostly in regards to Mr. Cox's property.
Correct.
All right?
There wasn't another one, was there?
That was it. She
Okay.
just wanted to reiterate on it, on the fact that, yes, it was down, but however, Mr. Cox has not gone in as instructed to talk with Tony to come in to inspect the deck yet.
Got it.
So I just needed to state that. All right, seeing